Let me take you on a journey through time, across the iron tracks that wove their way into the very heart of Britain. It's a story of innovation, ambition, and transformation. This is the epic tale of British railways. Picture the early 1600s, deep in the coalfields of northern England. Horses pull wooden carts along tracks made of timber. These wagonways were rudimentary but revolutionary. Then, in 1804, imagine the clatter of iron wheels as Richard Trevithick's steam-powered locomotive chugs forward for the first time in South Wales. It was more an experiment than a success, but Trevithick had ignited a spark. That spark burst into flame in 1825. Crowds gathered in County Durham, watching with awe as a steam locomotive named Locomotion Number One Star pulled a train along the Stockton and Darlington Railway. Designed by George Stephenson, this was the world's first public railway to use steam locomotives. It changed everything. Suddenly, railways weren't just for coal, they were for connecting people and ideas. Just 5 years later, in 1830, came the Liverpool and Manchester Railway. This was the first to rely entirely on steam, with scheduled passenger services and double tracks. The locomotive rocket stole the show, reaching unimaginable speeds. Cities that were once days apart were now just hours away. Industry boomed, trade flourished, and Britain began to shrink in the time it took to travel across it. What followed was a frenzy, railway mania. Throughout the 1830s and 1840s, investors poured fortunes into railways, dreaming of wealth and progress. Tracks spread across the land like veins. Not every dream survived the financial bubbles, but what remained was extraordinary, a true national network. This expansion brought chaos, too, with different track gauges causing problems, until the Gauge Act of 1846 standardized the rails. The Victorian age became the golden era of the railways. By 1870, nearly every town and city was connected. You could board a train in smoky London and be at a sunny Brighton beach just hours later. Freight trains transformed industry, and the engineering marvels, like the towering Forth Bridge or the underwater Severn Tunnel, stood as monuments to human ambition. But the 20th century brought challenges. Cars and buses emerged as competitors. In 1923, over 100 struggling companies were merged into 4 giants, the Big Four. They modernized, but were strained by economic depression and 2 world wars. By 1948, the government stepped in and nationalized the system, creating British Railways, later known as British Rail. The steam age gave way to diesel and electric trains. Yet the most painful chapter came in the 1960s with the beaching cuts. To save money, thousands of miles of track and hundreds of stations were closed. Villages lost their lifelines, and communities were forever changed. In the 1990s, another revolution occurred: privatization. British Rail was broken up, with services run by private companies. The results were a mix of improved services in some areas and rising fares and frustration in others. Yet, through it all, the railways remained the vital pulse of the nation. Today, we look to a future of speed and sustainability. High-speed trains like those on High-Speed 1 race across the landscape, shrinking distances further. The railways are going green, with electric, hydrogen, and battery-powered trains promising a cleaner future. So, as we reach the end of our journey, one truth remains. The story of British railways is the story of Britain itself. From those first wooden wagonways to the sleek high-speed trains of tomorrow, the railways have shaped our landscape, our economy, and our daily lives. They have connected us, not just by steel, but by spirit. And as long as the tracks run, they will continue to carry this island forward.